The small wins are what are actually leading and triggering their biggest wins. So in today's conversation, I'm gonna give you some practical tools that you can utilize that are gonna help you stop fixating over what you're not having and help you really focus on what you do have, and in return, allow you to get more out of your manifestations. Have you ever paid attention to how the small little things that you're doing right now are actually what cause the ripple effects in your life? I don't know about you, but recently I've been really fixating on discipline. I've been really fixating on the fact that our internal conversations are truly what manifest everything around us. And in today's conversation, I want to share with you what's new. And I also want to share with you things that I've been hearing from some of my amazing students and how they're making sure that the small wins are what are actually leading and triggering their biggest wins. So in today's conversation, I'm going to give you some practical tools that you can utilize that are going to help you stop fixating over what you're not having and help you really focus on what you do have, and in return, allow you to get more out of your manifestations. Now, in today's conversation, I also want to dive into some of the effortless ways that you can really manifest, because I hear this a lot. A lot of the times there's people out there trying to teach other people how to manifest, and they tell them to buy the cream and the crystal and activate it on the moon and rub the belly of the Buddha. And honestly, I really wholeheartedly believe that the reason why all of those things are so magnetically impactful is because you, the person, is magnetically impactful. Therefore, you give this crystal such an energetic charge with the thoughts, feelings, actions that you have, that it's going to help you in that process. Now, I will say there's certain things out there that I believe with, like crystals actually being one of them, that do energetically have a field around them. I mean, anything has an energy field around them, but crystals are one of these things that can help you in this process of cleansing. But I don't want you to get fixed on that one thing that is going to change your life when you haven't changed your mindset, okay? So the first thing is, what's changing in my life right now, and the power of small wins. So manifesting doesn't happen all at once. And I think we can all agree with that. Manifesting is something that is small actions that are gradually starting to create this ripple effect. Now, these old cycles, they don't break overnight, right? These cycles have to actually be taken apart gradually. And the only way you're able to do that is with your belief system. Your belief system is the most impactful thing in your life, because this is literally the way you operate, right? The way that you are acting with other people, the clothes that you're choosing, the conversations you're having, the food that you're eating, it all comes from your paradigm. It all comes from these habits that you've created. Your habits is what creates your paradigm, okay? So I've talked about this before, and I'm going to get into it again because it's essential for you to understand. Your paradigm is literally what controls everything, okay? Neville Goddard talks about it. I love the deluxe collection. If you have not read his material, highly encourage it. I'm going to show you right now. If you're watching it on YouTube, I highly encourage you to check out this book. It has 14 books all included in there, and it's just a wealth of information. I love Neville Goddard because the way he delivers the information is tied into the Bible. And I love that because I've heard this from a lot of people, especially when they're looking to manifest. They think that manifesting is from the devil. They think that manifesting is evil. And they think that the only way they can really get power of manifesting is through going to church. And this couldn't be furthest from the truth. The reason why we get this feeling of wholeness when we go to a church, in my opinion, and based off the research I've done, is because we're congregating with other people, other amazing souls that are sharing that energy of love and appreciation for this grand essence that we cannot see. And for me, I don't need to go into a church in order for that to be something that I abide by. And why am I saying this? Well, because it all ties into how your small wins are going to create everything else that you're going to see. So something that recently I've been noticing in my life is that I had a belief system geared around having to take care of my grandparents and have them live with me. And I believe that that was the best way to do it, not only because I feel in my heart of hearts that I owe them the world for everything that they've done for me, even the stuff that they didn't do for me that helped me tremendously in my life. And for those of you that are not familiar with what I'm talking about, I mentioned before that I take care of my grandparents. My grandparents have been a part of my journey for the longest time, ever since I can remember. I've been with them literally ever since my mom and my dad were out of the picture. My grandparents stepped up to the plate. And this is not to say anything on my parents, because life was happening for them as well. And honestly, I've come to the consensus of now just letting life teach me that what is happening in that moment is really what I need for my truest and highest version of myself. But in this paradigm that I was sharing with you, I believed that I had to have my grandparents living with me, although I knew it had a ton of problems that would arise from it, right? Because there's obviously a difference of perspectives and mindsets and all these things that go into it. However, one of the things that for me personally really resonated was these adoptings of beliefs can be implemented on anything you're doing, whether it's your food that you're consuming, whether it's your dynamic with your family members. So I tested my theory about creating a new paradigm, and I really asked myself if I was truly happy with this dynamic that I was carrying. And there's a lot more that goes into it. I won't share it on this video. I don't think it's something that we should get into on this particular podcast, but I will in the future. But there's a lot of stuff that was just happening, and I was starting to feel my mental sanity compromised. And this is why I say that you need to be so clear on your boundaries to where you know who you're willing to accept in your life and who you're not willing to accept. And even if you're going to still accept those people in your life, maybe there's different dynamics. There's different ways to accept them in your life with this new version of yourself. And this is why I mentioned that it's so important for you, wherever you are in your journey, to get clear on what are your standards, what are your non-negotiables, and what are the things that you are not going to settle for. Because this actually helped me get clarity on what it is that I truly wanted. And when I really dissected what makes me feel the happiest, what makes me feel the wholest, and is going to allow them to also feel happy and also feel whole. And it was for me to transition into something in which I can have them have their own place. I have my own place. I'm still taking care of them, but they just have their own place. And we're still connected and we're still there for one another. So as this transition is happening, I am doing my very best to remind myself of the teachings that I have learned and that I teach my students. And this is why I say that wherever you are right now, just remember we all have a story, okay? That guru, and I'm doing my little air quotes over here, that you see online is also a human being. So wherever you are, just remember that there is a way out. And I wanted to start off by saying my story because I heard a story that really touched me. And if she's listening, she knows who she is. But I have a special client that is going to be working with us pretty soon. She started off just listening to our podcast. And from there, she invested in herself. She became part of the Walking Manifestor community. And she's been doing extraordinary things. And I saw it. I felt this energy from her. I'm usually pretty good. And I think that all of us are pretty good at reading people. I just think we ignore it based off how we've been raised. So I have this sixth sense, okay? I can tell when the dynamic of a person is gonna be good or it's not. Again, we all have it. So you just have to start tapping into more of that clairvoyancy that we all have. But I just felt when I talked to her for the first time that there was something there that was going to be a lot bigger than what we were realizing at that time. And when I did her onboarding for the coaching, we had this great conversation. She shared with me some of her goals. And this is how fast manifesting happens. And I just want to share with you how your alignment internally matters so that you can externally see what you want. She was in a job that she was not happy in. She's told me, I'm not happy here. I really want to manifest something better. I feel like this is really not my passion. This is not where I'm meant to be. I'm overworked. I'm burned out. And there's a lot more things there that she didn't even have to tell me that I could see, right? That I could feel from her because I was her. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to be at a job that you hate. I know what it feels like to feel like the world is crumbling around you. I know what it feels like to feel like I know what it feels like. And when that happened, I remember telling her, you need to get very clear. We had the conversation, we had a coaching call, told her, get very clear on what your intentions are, what you're looking to manifest, do the internal work. And she's been doing it, okay? Literally today, on the recording of this day, today is on Thursday, so depending on when you listen to this, I talked to her and she is actually manifesting this position in Walking Manifestor's company and my real estate company. And I'm so excited for her because she did this. Like, she literally manifested this. She opened up an opportunity. She invested in herself, and literally the money that she invested in my coaching program, like, she's going to get tenfold because now, like, she's going to be working with me. Why am I telling you this? Because I know if you're listening to these podcasts, I know if you're watching these videos, you have this hunger to change and you want to be better. But I'm telling you, none of us can fix you. It's only you. What really us are here for is the community. It's the reminder. Like, when I invest in any type of program and any type of coaching, it's because I want to become a better version of myself. And the reason I think it's important for us to share these wins when it comes to how you're looking to manifest and how your discipline is going to impact you and how your words are going to make the world of a difference. It's because once you can understand that your mind truly does create your reality, you start talking to yourself nicely. You start paying attention to what you're looking at. You start paying attention to who you're hanging out with. I'll say one thing. Now that I've done the feminine work, like I mentioned to you guys before, I started a new part of Walking Manifestor because every time that I've learned something new that I've embodied, I want to share that information out there because it's helping me in a way that I just can't thank enough to the universe. And for me, it was my dark feminine energy. For the longest time, I felt like I had to have this like good girl mask simply because I had always been in this either mask of being a mean person or being too overly nice. So I felt confused. I felt conflicted when I was too mean because I felt like, oh, they're going to feel that, you know, I talk about positivity, but I'm being mean. And then I felt conflicted when I wouldn't say something because I wasn't being true and authentic to me and how I perceived myself. And if there's one thing that you can take from today's podcast is that your voice matters. And when you tell yourself that you're going to keep yourself safe, but you don't do it because you're not keeping your boundaries, this is how you are slowly reducing that discipline that you have, that commitment, that word that you're giving to yourself by saying, we're going to do this. And I think it's very essential for you to understand that those small wins, when we're focusing on all of these parts of our life that are not in conjunction with what we're trying to manifest, it can slow things down. The reason I was talking about my dark feminine energy is because that's the part that I felt I was missing for a long time. And now that I've plugged that in, I'm never going back. And I will tell you a quick little story. I was talking to somebody and my level of authenticity to myself for my boundaries was so refreshing. I remember I was going to go and meet with this person. I was a little nervous because the last conversation that we had was just not the best. And then I pulled over and I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, why are you nervous right now? I am going to take care of you. I am going to protect you. We're going to be fine. If you feel uncomfortable at any point in time, this person has said that, you know, we're just going to have a conversation. It's going to be professional. And if at any point in time you feel uncomfortable, you're going to get up and I'm going to walk you out and we're going to leave. I literally said this to myself and my whole nervous system, it was like calming down gradually. And then when that time came where I did feel uncomfortable during the conversation, I got up, I moved my body, and it allowed me to change my physiology to the point where I knew I was okay. My body relaxed, and it was like this dark feminine energy. And when I say dark, don't think of it as an evil energy because that's what You've been conditioned to think, okay? You think that something is good or something is bad. Things are just what they are. The creator, God, has all energies within him. This is how we have these energies, okay? So it's what you pay attention to. Just because you have a bad thought doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Now, if you act on that thought, I mean, this is how you're actually choosing to create who you are, right? So in this example, for me, that dark feminine energy was just that energy to protect myself in the most authentic way possible. And when I did that, I was able to show myself that we have tapped into a new version of ourselves, and this is no longer the standards that we are going to stand for. Therefore, when I had this conversation with the person and my dynamic was relaxed, the person even said, "You have changed so much." And I am so happy that we were able to have this conversation, because I wasn't allowed to get stirred into the drama or the energy that the person was trying to hold. I was so confident in my own energy. And how these small wins really help you in manifesting is because once you can focus on the fact that it's not about the end goal, it's literally just the stepping stones. And I was talking to somebody today and they said this, literally, when we can focus on these small little steps, this is where we see the biggest actions in our life, because manifesting doesn't happen overnight, right? Manifesting is something that literally, it's the manifestation taking form as the days pass. And I had this epiphany because think about it. Everything that exists now, the computer, the telephones, the cars, the beds, literally everything existed in our mind before. And when you can get behind that, you can understand that you are the creator. You are literally tapped into this essence. And again, if it's triggering that I'm telling you that you're the creator, this is where you need to do some more work. This is where we need to do some more work to understand. I'm not saying that I am God. I am saying I am one with God. And this is where you can walk with this energy, this essence that is just everlasting. And there's no doubt in you that things are going to happen in a negative way, because you just know that you are divinely protected. So today, your biggest takeaways is small wins do add up. Okay, so stack them daily. Make sure that you have a gratitude journal. We've talked about this before. Make sure that you have something that's helping you stay consistent with your appreciation. Now, number 2 is discipline isn't your restriction, okay? It's setting yourself up for the effortless success. So reframe your brain from thinking that discipline is a restriction to now thinking that this is actually the best way and the most effortless way for you to manifest. If you haven't seen already our last episode, we talked about how to create a morning routine. I highly encourage you to check it out, because these are the things that are going to help you make the biggest difference. When you can win the day, everything else just flowing. Now, another point is your reality shifts when you start showing up different. The moment you start becoming that new identity, things are going to change. And momentum is the secret to the fastest of your manifestations. The moment that you can understand that this momentum is going to come from the discipline, from the staying consistent, from the affirmations, from the things that you're telling yourself. It's all these little steps. It's not a one thing that's going to change everything. It's all these little steps. This is your time. Okay. So start stacking up all of those small wins and watch as your reality shifts. I want to thank you so much for sticking around to another episode here of Walking Manifestor. And again, this is a community in which we get to talk about all the things that are geared around helping us become the best version of ourselves, to forget all these old stories that we've been told that conditioned us to be this limited version of ourselves. But in reality, you are extraordinary, my friend. You are a walking manifestor, and you can go out there and create anything you desire.